Alright, welcome everyone to this video here. I'm going to be doing a VoD review of the top 4 match and the finals match of Origins, so people can kind of get an idea of what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to play for, and just kind of see how to handle certain matchups. If the first matchup was against Scorpion, so just let this play a little bit and try and give an idea of what I'm trying to do. Alright, so we flip out flops. Let's see if I can go back. Try and do this slow. It's not a very long game. So, opening flops against Scorpion, I'm looking for Kitsuki Investigator, Agasha Swordsmith, Doom Shigenja. Nitan Adept is pretty good in the early game, but my opponent's on Crab Splash and he's playing 3 Watch Commanders. Playing full Dishonor, and so I'm just gonna kind of walk through my thought process here. So I won the die roll, obviously very big brain right there. It's really important to win the die roll. So I see a Swordsmith on my flop, and I see 2 Sumikos and an Adept. So I'm just thinking, what am I gonna do? So usually here I'm looking to buy Swordsmith with 2 Fate, and then see what my opponent does. I see my opponent flops Fawning Diplomat and Young Rumonger. I have a feeling he's going to buy the Diplomat with his first buy, and then I'll basically gauge what I'm going to do from there. So, yep. So Matt buys Diplomat, I buy Swordsmith 2 Fate. Matt then buys the Rumormonger, and so I'm just kind of trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I end up just taking Passing Fate here. So, when you can take Passing Fate from Scorpion, it's really nice. By taking Passing Fate here, I'm pretty much conceding a conflict. And I think that's okay, because I'm going to go into the next turn with 5 Fate. Or I'm going to go into the conflict with 5 Fate. So I pass. So Matt boxes me in Dynasty. When Scorpion boxes you in Dynasty phase, it almost always especially after he give a Passing Fate, he's going to bid 1 here. Like, 90% of the time he bids 1 here. I happen to know that Matt is going to bid 1, so like it's not that. I just have, if this was someone I didn't know, I would know I'm getting 1 bid here. Oh, cool. I'm gonna grab Chris. In this call here. Hey, what's up? Let me share my screen with you. Alright, cool. This should work now. Cool. This look good? Alright, cool. I'll go back to the beginning then. So, alright, cool. So, let me see if I can get the flop here. Because this will be good, because you can give me the Scorpion player's perspective. So this is my top 4 match. I won the die roll, and I mulliganed 3 cards. I kept my Swordsmith. And so my opponent flops Fawning Diplomat, Rumormonger, and Yunako. I had a feeling he was going to buy Fawning Diplomat, so I buy Swordsmith with 2, and then he plays Rumormonger, so I just take Passing Fate. Yep. So I know Matt's gonna 1-bid me. So Matt is a bid 1 player. So I actually just know he's gonna 1-bid me. But my opponent boxes me in Dynasty after buying Rumormonger and giving up Passing Fate. So I was just making the point that if this was against a random opponent that I didn't know was going to 1-bid me, I would be like 90+% sure they were gonna 1-bid me. Sure, sure. Oh wait, wait. Cool. All right, you were muted for that portion. No big deal. Yeah, yeah. I've been doing solo cast recently, so I just didn't unmute the desktop sounds. No big deal.
So, Cliff Notes version are that that Rumor Monger was unnecessary to buy there, and then if your opponent boxes you in the first turn, always be wary for a turn one bid from the
Yeah,
Scorpion player.
like a lower bid. All right, so continuing on here. So I know I'm gonna bid 5. Like I'm just gonna bid 5. I know I'm gonna get one bid, so I'm basically playing like I'm gonna be at 6 honor. So here, the bids come here.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. So like, some people would consider lowering their bids initially if they know that their opponent is going to one bid them. You felt perfectly comfortable just bidding 5 and starting at 6 honor as Dragon.
Yeah, yeah. So if if I could start the game, if like this was just like what someone told me the starting honor and cards in hand would be, I would be okay with that. So I
And
actually
of
oh god.
Well, just that the benefit of going 5, and the thing can just keep going. Since you've got swordsmith in play, you're grabbing a Pathfinder's blade. It's pretty obvious at this point in time that you're just going to be trying to lean on card advantage from the start. Especially with the way that you bought swordsmith. So seems
So
strong.
yeah, I activate swordsmith. I already have a Finger of Jade in my hand, so I'm looking for another form of protection. I believe I have Finger of Jade and Reprieve in my hand. So I'm just trying not to get assassinated on this turn 1 here. I know my opponent only has Calling and Favors for attachment control, and so I just gotta, be careful about that. So I take Pathfinder's Blade with my swordsmith.
How many callings were in his deck?
I believe it's 3.
Good number.
Yeah, yeah. So we're in draw step. I pretty much do all my stuff in draw step as often as possible, just because it's easier. So I finger in draw step after swordsmithing draw step, and I think I pass. And then so pre-conflict we both pass. My opponent is gonna attack me air, I believe. Yeah, he's just looking at the rings.
Those are your invitational rings.
Yeah,
Those are sweet looking.
yeah, they're really sweet. I got a lot of compliments. So he attacks in a Feast or Famine, so I get Seeker of Fire Fate. And so because it's so I'm gonna lose. I'm basically like here. I'm just deciding whether or not I want to block. I'm gonna lose this province, and I've already kind of accepted that. I basically just have to figure out what ring is like. Do I want to go down to 4 honor, or do I want to go down to 5? Is really what I'm going for, and lose the Earth Ring. So I opt to win this conflict with my swordsmith because I actually don't think I can win a political conflict because I didn't have that many political buffs. Where I knew my opponent would not really have that many military buffs to overpower this conflict, so I knew I could win this one.
And they do. I believe they still run bonsai, but I think that's just to cancel other people's bonsai whenever they're getting attacked into.
Oh yeah.
From the John Butler article.
So Pathfinder. So my opponent's on Crab Splash and not. I don't know what Butler's splash was, but he's on Crab Splash for 3 Watch Commanders and a Reprieve.
Okay, very cool.
So I Pathfinder's Blade for 1 strength. My opponent passes, and then I box up to 4, and then my opponent passes, and I win the conflict. I pass my conflict. I'm gonna lose Feast or Famine here, and I'm gonna get Earth Ring. Basically, I'm just gonna get Earth Ringed, which will even out some of the card disparity. But Swordsmith drew me an extra card, and I drew 4 extra cards from my draw step. I lose an honor for unopposed. I believe yeah, okay. I was like, oh god, I'm gonna watch this back and I'm gonna watch this back and DQ myself.
Yeah, right. Get Parised.
Yeah. So Earth Ring, I get Earth Ringed here. I lose a bonsai. I believe I don't care. I'm pretty sure I just don't care about that. Like that just like is just whatever. So he gets favor from fawning leaving play. I believe he uses his storehouse in Dynasty or in Regroup. I hope he does. So I'm entering this turn with 12 fate, which I'm entering 12 versus 9 fate, which is really huge. I know I'm gonna get 1 bid again, right? So my board is I'm entering the turn with a board. I have a swordsmith with a Pathfinder's Blade and a Finger of Jade, so I can just like attack in.
Where's his regroup action? So like he needs to pitch his Yunako.
I think he kept Junako and he kept Storehouse. He just didn't like activate his Storehouse. I didn't notice this.
It's I mean, like him flipping a second Yunako sort of erases the sin of not pitching her in the first place, but that's interesting, to me.
So I buy Investigator for Fate, which is something I do against Scorpion.
I'm aware.
Really mittens, I never had any issues with at the tournament. So yeah, by Investigator Forfeit, by Initiate 0. A tip for dragons out there is Initiate with 0 basically nets you an honor. You just use this ability no matter what, just to honor status it. And then I buy this Adept with 1 because I just have all this Fate, and I'm gonna get Fate off rings here. So I'm pretty confident to just buy out my board basically, and I flip Palace on this Broken Feast or Famine. So I'm confident to get favor. So I draw 1 here. Activate my Swordsmith. I think I take a Katana here. I think this is the only attachment I flip actually, so I just take this Katana.
Wait, who got Fate? Who got Passing Fate? Did he get Passing Fate?
He got Passing Fate. I bought my board. He so I wasn't gonna buy the Adept, but he didn't dupe Yunako, so I just played the Adept. And I think I'm just gonna attack Void here to protect my 1 Fate characters. So yeah, I played Jade Masterpiece to move a Fate from the Fire Ring to the Void Ring, most likely.
Jade Masterpiece, so good.
Yep. So Jade Masterpiece is gonna pay for itself here. So I'm gonna declare Mill Void with my Swordsmith. Just gonna go start flipping provinces over. I have Pathfinder's Blade to block Secret Cache. I believe it's Shameful Display. I think he blocks with Yunako here. Opponent chose Political Favor also, which could have been a gaff. If he had taken Military Favor, he actually, it would have helped him more. So he blocks, he activates Shameful. I Pathfinder's Blade. I could have used Finger of Jade, but I chose to use Pathfinder's Blade just because I don't want to lose to Assassination here. So I play the Katana that he knows about. So I'm 3 to 4 right now. And then I believe he plays a Watch Commander here, as the video's getting choppy. Good old Windows media player here. Yeah. So
and this is also another good point about whenever you're playing Watch Commander, like your Shameful Display activation is always going to be there. And it's not like super impactful to just dishonor Dragon right off the bat anyway. There's no triggers for them. So like putting the Watch Commander in first, if that's your plan before you do anything else, is usually going to be the right play. Especially since, on your side, we see you replacing Pathfinder Blade Force with Fine Katana Force, right?
Yeah, and you have the Katana, right? So the Pathfinder's Blade is not going anywhere. Your Shameful Display trigger is not going anywhere. You still get to do it in the conflict. If he had played Watch Commander, I just wouldn't have played the Katana. I just would have passed through, and then sacrifice Pathfinder's Blade, knowing where Shameful Display is. But so I get this Katana. I sneak this Katana through without losing an honor. He plays Watch Commander, so it's 5 to 3. So I box up to 5, and then Matt kind of makes a comment here like that's how math works or something. Like he just miscounted, and so I actually just end up winning the conflict 5 to 5.
Essentially, if you could have been put in a spot where you'd have to lose an honor or just lose the conflict if you had played Watch Commander first there.
It basically forces me to make a choice, right? Like there's just no choice for me here. So we see a political attack here. It's gonna be so Matt just attacks air all the time. I guess that's just like the dishonor strategy. It's just like I don't think it's very good. Against like what I'm presenting. I'm presenting 2 forms of card advantage every turn with Swordsmith and Investigator. It's just like you're just gonna get buried by cards. So I investigate to the Water Ring because then I can take the Fate off of it.
And also, it does leave you if you pay no attention to where Fate is at on rings, then you also get beat on 3 fronts. You get beat on economic advantage as well. This is also one of my problems with the bid 1 Scorpion strategy. Also, not to shit all over this guy's gameplay strategy.
It's obviously viable, right? He made the finals, or he made top 4. I mean, like he won his first cup match and everything. Like it's obviously good. It's just I feel like it is good against people who don't know what to do against it.
I wonder if it's inflexible in game plan. Like, how much are you allowed to change your strategy from archetype to archetype depending on who your opponent is? Are there some opponents where you bid 3 or 5 to start? No, you just always bid 1 to start. It seems rigid. I don't like rigid game plans like that.
Yeah. So this is something. So basically, I'm investigating him, and after I've investigated him, especially with such a small hand, as soon as I see his hand, I literally know how the entire turn is going to play out, because I know my hand. So I look at his hand, and I see 2 Edicts, Fate Worse Than Death, Kachiko, Outwit, and Court Games. So I'm going to take this Fate Worse Than Death, and what I know is going to happen is he's going to Court Games me, and then he's going to try and Outwit me. So I'm just going to play fans. So I take Fate Worse Than Death because it's just dealing, especially when my opponent's drawing 1, like just getting them out of the way is just like an easy way to win. So he Court Games me. So I literally tell him, I'm like, you Court Games me, and then I'm like, okay, fan, because I just don't want to get. I literally say out loud, I don't want to get outwitted. So then we're tied for. Like I just narrate the turn right now because I'm just telling him what's gonna happen, and then after this, I'm just like, you don't have anything to do. I'm gonna play another fan, because I just know your hand. So then he activates the storehouse now. So then I have he has 1 unknown card. So my investigator is Swole. He's you know, I checked my opponent wasn't playing I Can Swim, so I wasn't too worried about my investigator being dishonored for later turns. So I win the ring. I'm gonna declare a attack on. I'm basically gonna go break Shameful Display right now, with my guys on with this water ring, and grab the Fate. So I'm just going to take my break on Shameful here. If my opponent plays a conflict character, I can bow it with Niten Adept. And then my opponent can't. I just know my opponent's hand. So I pay a fate to the Earth Ring over the Fire Ring because I just don't want to give my opponent a chance to get dishonor. So he loses an honor for unopposed. I stand my Swordsmith, and then I bow my guys. So this initiate is going to gain me an honor also. So I'm just going to go back to 6. And I'm just up like a million cards now. I've gotten 2 extra cards for my Swordsmiths, and I've made him discard a card now. So he's just thinking. I believe he drew a Kami Unleashed with his with his draw from the storehouse. So I'm not sure if he's trying to play that or not. I believe I have a Cloud the Mind in my hand. Oh yeah, we just didn't break Shameful Display because we're good players.
Big brains.
yeah. So, Seeker Clan, I discard the face down cards. Yeah, I think he's just thinking, and then we're gonna pass through here. I'm gonna claim favor by just rings plus palace. Gonna gain an honor. Gonna void all our boards.
So, this is one of the things that I least like playing against Dragon, especially, you know, builds that are closer to yours, is that it's like I like to win my games by dominating my opponent. I like to win by being up in card advantage, economic advantage, board, all the things. I just want to play the perfect game.
Yeah.
Be able to crush my opponent. And it always seems like against this Dragon deck, because of the way the provinces are set up and the nature of the personalities and the conflict deck, I know I'm not going to be able to maintain advantage in all of those ways. You know, like I'm going to have to give up hand advantage if I hit restoration. Or I'm going to have to give up economic advantage if I'm not like producing a board in the same manner that the Dragon is, whatever. I mean, you can keep playing.
So I was just want to talk about something here. Yeah. This is a really small edge case scenario. So my opponent had a Liar, and I know he has 2 Edicts in his hand. I want to kill this Watch Commander without losing an honor or getting it countered. So I actually pause my opponent in the Fate phase, and I tell my opponent I have an action in the Fate phase. So I use the Fate phase action window to play Let Go on this Watch Commander when he has no courtiers to cancel it. It's just like small things that other players might not think to do. They might just like wait till like pre-conflict where your opponent has a courtier again.
Yeah, that is a good point.
And so this is another turn. I go into the next turn, you know, tied on Fate 10-10 again. So this is I think just the biggest gaffe of the game here. Is just kind of how this first conflict plays out. So we're gonna flip here. So I flip Yokuni. I'm just really confident. Like my opponent's gonna draw 1 again, and if they don't, then I'm just gonna I'm just gonna forfeit my Yokuni here. If my opponent draws 1, my board's too good, and if my opponent draws 5, and like...
I think forfeit is maybe a little too much here, just because like I don't think the game is going to last that long, kind of a thing.
I just thought that maybe if... So I'm going to get Passing Fate. I knew I was going to get Passing Fate because he duped Yunako's his first action. And so the reason that I forfeit here is that if he draws 5 and then like actually tries to play a real game of Scorpion against me, like it's going to go longer.
Gotcha.
And so basically I just view it as... You know, like that's really like how I view it, as just like if we're gonna play a real game. So he plays Shoju, and he dupes Shoju. So probably could have put one less fate on Shoju also. So we're gonna bid. I think I bid 2 here actually. Yeah, I bid 2.
You do.
Because I just want more cards to bury my opponent with. I'm gonna draw a card from the storehouse. So a storehouse first before swordsmithing. That's probably wrong actually. I probably want to find an event more than an attachment, so I should have swordsmith first. That's small edges there. Is if you're looking for an event, you should swordsmith first. If you're looking for an attachment, you should storehouse first.
That's a good point.
So I believe. Oh, I played an ancestral dice show on my adept. So if he just pre-conflict attacks me with like Yunaka or something, I can just first action bow. So my opponent.
Is that all your fate?
I have 1 fate.
Okay.
So I have 1 fate, and my opponent can. If my opponent attacks a face-down province, it's restoration or shameful display. So I'm happy. If he attacks Manicure Garden, I'll get another fate. So my opponent's gonna attack political air again, and I'm just gonna block with Yokuni and Investigator, and this is just gonna be the fattest Earth Ring you've ever seen. So first action I investigate, pay to the Earth Ring, because it already has 2 fate. I'm gonna get 3. So I see my opponent has a Katana, 2 Kamis, Kachiko, and Outwit, and the 2 edicts I knew about. So I was gonna take a Kami, but I have to read it, and I made sure that it's only once per conflict. So I just take the Outwit, so he can't outwit Yokuni, so he can't outwit guy. I had a favorable ground I didn't even realize. I probably should just not have taken the Outwit, but I take Outwit, and so
I mean, so he has what, 2 money right now, or
yeah,
is that
he has 2 money?
So he never really presented enough fate to play Kachiko.
Yeah, he played Shoju this turn, right? He chose to play Shoju. I think I had a Cloud the Mind in my hand, so if he had played Kachiko, we just would have been clouded. Video's paused real quick. Or I mean,
Manicured.
I'm gonna Manicure to gain a fate, and then I'm gonna copy Investigator with Yokuni. And I'm gonna pay it to the Earth Ring. If this video just plays. Okay, there we go. So I gain a fate here for Manicured. He passes. I use Yokuni to pay with the Earth Ring. The Earth Ring now has 4 fate on it, and I'm gonna take Kachiko here because his hand is now at 2 edicts and 2 kamis. So he's gonna pass here. I'm still winning, so I don't care. We pass here, and then this is just the sickest play. So I'm gonna use Jade Masterpiece to move from the Fire Ring to the Earth Ring, and I'm gonna take 5 fate off the Earth Ring.
Masterpiece is amazing.
Well, like he just also didn't attack a 2 fate Earth Ring. So and he attacked me on political, allowing me to pay to the Earth Ring, right? Like, so
I mean, but that's the thing, I don't know if Butler's article said you always have to attack Earth Ring. I think the bid 1 seemed to be the most important thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I think the rest of the gameplay is just standard. Like, so I attack with this Swordsmith. I think I hit Meditations, and I think he just lets it die. So yeah, I have enough force to just break. Yeah, so he just lets it die. So between the Earth Ring and the 2 investigation triggers, he's lost 3 cards this turn. And then I drew 2 Storehouse and Swordsmith, so I'm up net 7 cards. And so my opponent plays a sword on Yunako, and then I think he passes his conflict actually. I think I play a Let Go on the sword, and then he edicts it. If I remember this game correctly. Oh no, he just attacks me with fire. Okay. So he attacks Manicured, I block, and then I attempt to play Let Go on this Fan, or this Katana. So he edicts with Shoju. Opponent passes, opponent can't play any cards, so I play another Daisho now that I have 5 fate. So I'm winning. He's gonna swap me with Yunako, so I'm tied, and then I'm gonna Storehouse, or not Storehouse, Stronghold.
Stronghold, yeah.
So like you can even see Matt pointing to the stronghold. He's just making me do it basically. So I play a skirmisher and I'm just gonna go for another break. I have a bonsai in my hand, so I know I can break pilgrimage. I hit Seeker Cache, which is really unfortunate. I was really hoping to hit pilgrimage here. So this is like the sickest Seeker Cache too, because I know my opponent's hand. My opponent's hand is Forged Edict and Kami Unleashed because the Earth Ring discarded a Kami. And so I'm gonna bonsai with no kicker because I have military favor, so that gives me exactly 4.
And what, he assassinates you, I have to assume?
No, it's like slightly sicker than that. It doesn't actually matter, but it's just like in like a closer game it would have been like really tilting. So I small bonsai here. If he plays his other Kami in the conflict, I can favorable ground in my Niten Adept and bow it. But he's just gonna take the break here. So bonsai, no kicker. So I'm gonna avoid this Yunako. And then opponent loses an honor for unopposed. And then I'm gonna play Reprieve on my Swordsmith, and his one card that he got was Calling in Favors. So he Calling in Favors, and then I just play another Reprieve.
Sure, but the blowout.
Yeah. It was just like, ugh. And then so I'm actually like down to like 3 cards now in hand because I've just played so many attachments. But I have this Yokuni and this Investigator. You know, his guys are both dishonored. I'm gonna pick up both these swords now.
So he's not running any I Can Swim, did you say, or
he's not playing any I Can Swim?
Oh, okay. So your Investigator is just totally safe at this point.
Yeah. And I think I end up getting another Finger of Jade later. So I end up with 8 fate here. Opponent went down to 1 fate, so they're at 8 also. I'm gonna be first player on Stronghold. And then I think I flip Raitsugu here. My opponent just concedes because I can just like kill Yunako with my 2 swords. He knows I have 2 Daishos in my hand.
So you've got a Lord Unknown in the stream chat saying that he plays this deck type, or at least the bid 1 Scorpion, something approximating it. And he says he goes super hard on Earth and Void early to maintain card and board advantage, which definitely makes more sense than just like making air the only thing you give a shit about.
Yeah, for sure. The problem is that like if you did that against me in this exact matchup, he just extends the hand after I play Raitsugu because he just can't stand against my military attack because he flipped you know, no characters that really help him in this. The thing is, Lord Unknown, is that if you were going for those rings, you would have had more fate, and like the game would have gone on more turns because I just wouldn't have been able to play so many cards. But you just wouldn't have won those conflicts. Like I would have just taken it slightly slower and just ended up, you know, taking 1 break a turn instead of 2. Like you just can't win conflicts by betting 1. Like you just have to get incredibly lucky on the cards that you draw is my issue.
Does it?
Huh?
You know, that's how Lion does it. You know, they just bid 1, get the 4 greater glory and the bonsai and everything else that they need. You know, that's how you're supposed to bid 1.
So
it's the correct way to do it.
This is the finals match against Travis. You know, it was like streamed by like shaky hand cam, but I'll just kind of like talk over what I'm looking for in the matchup and everything. So against New Phoenix, you want to find. Niten Master is the most important card in the matchup. It lets you compete with the number of stands that they have, and you can just kind of gain too much of an advantage early in the game. And then the other important characters are Kitsuki Investigator, Miyamoto Raitsugu, and Agasha Sumiko. So with those characters, the thing is you just don't want to get Karmic Twisted off of your Master or your Investigator, so you just gotta be really careful how you play your conflict characters, or, you know, I actually mulligan Doom Shigenja in this matchup because it's just a liability sometimes. I mean, it not only in Karmic Twist, but also just getting bowed, you know. There's a lot of different ways why Doom Shigenja isn't favorable here. So I definitely got really lucky on this. So I mulliganed all 4 of my Dynasty cards because I just had like an unplayable flop. It was like Yokuni holding like Sumiko or something, and I'm just like, this is like I can never win this. So I mulliganed 4 cards, and the last card on the right province is Niten Master.
Awesome.
So I won the die roll again because I just, like I said, I ran really hot this tournament, And
And 19 Master is a bit of a problem against New Phoenix, just because like even though they've got really beefy dudes that are good to put out, like Prodigy of the Waves, you don't want to have to buy that first turn. It is nice to just buy some really low cost stuff, pocket a bunch of fate, so that you can really power out with a bunch of fate those large characters in following turns. Plus, against Dragon, you don't want to get that shit Feast or Famine, or put yourself in a position where you have to use an Against the Waves to stop a Feast or Famine. But whenever you put out 19 Master, now we have to devote to the board more. To keep from getting double broken on the first turn. So 19 Master's first turn just tends to be a problem. Go ahead.
So, well, I was just going to say, so the way that Travis played his turn one, a lot of people in chat were kind of ripping him at for. I don't necessarily think it's the optimal way to buy in turn one, but on that same token, I don't think it's literally the worst thing you can do. He basically, the way Travis's his approach is he wants to scout 2 provinces early, and he just wants to then develop his board from there. So he played 2 small characters. He ends the turn with 4 fate. He's going to draw a card from his his Knife Student. I just happen to have Nitai Master, right? So if he plays one of the other characters, it's not really as strong. Especially if he has Shameful Display or something, it can get really hairy. So Travis told me his opening conflict hand was 3 Cloud of the Mines and something else, and he just kept all 3 Cloud of the Mines. So Travis is gonna go so Travis lost the die roll against Dragon, and so he just is like, all right, well, I'm just gonna attack here. So he's just gonna do Political Fire, and he just picks a random province, and he's gonna hit Restoration of Balance.
This is my biggest problem with attacking as first player. Like I have talked at length in multiple capacities, whatever, media forums, chat groups, that I love flipping all provinces as soon as possible. But against Dragon, if you're first player, I think it's correct to just sit back. And I know it sucks the longer the game goes that you don't hit a Restoration of Balance, but if you do this, you just lose the game, in my opinion. Like, if you hit Restoration Balance as first player and you both bid 5, like, you're just, it's such a low probability that you'll be able to crawl back from that kind of early card disadvantage. And, I really, even if your Dragon opponent passes their first challenge in response to you passing, the benefit that you're getting out of that is that this 19 Master is now not going to break 2 of your provinces first turn. And with you only having 4 cards in your hand to try and defend against that, I just don't see a world where attacking first as first player into Dragon is right without like cover, Cautious Scout, Pathfinder's Blade, something like that. And Travis is a really good player, so I'm not shitting on his overall game plan here, but just as an aside from what I would do having piloted both of these decks.
So another thing you're gonna see here is how just sick Seeker Fate is. So I played Nitai Master 3 Fate. I then got Passing Fate and Second Player Fate, and with Seeker Fate, I actually end up with 1 less Fate than Travis does, even though he played 2 small characters. Like, that's just pretty insane. So he discards. He's gonna discard cards here. So the other really big problem for Travis here is he only has 2 spells to discard. So he discards 2 Clarities, or he discards a Clarity and Against the Waves, 2 Court Games, and a Fan, which he's told me he should have pre-played the Fan. So then I block and I first action Court Games. So he clouds me. I'm just gonna pass here and win the conflict. So after seeing my opponent discard 2 Court Games, I know my Court Games is safe, or potentially safe. So I'm gonna play Let Go on this Cloud of the Mind, and then he's just gonna immediately play another Cloud of the Mind. And so I just passed my first conflict. Then I only drew 1 Let Go in my opening hand. So Travis is gonna go flip over another province here because if you're already committed to flipping over provinces, you just want to make sure that you flip them all. So ideally, Travis wants to find Feast or Famine here, so he can deny me Seeker Fate and then know where Feast or Famine is. But Travis ends up hitting Shameful Display, which is, again, pretty variance positive for me. Travis goes for Water also, which is really smart. He sees the face-up Sumiko, and basically Travis is just like saying that to win this game from this position, now he just needs to set up Conjo. And so I play Tattooed Wanderer, and I put 1 Fate on it, and I just tell Travis that I'm still thinking about putting the second Fate on it. And the reason I'm thinking about this is that if Travis has Karmic Twist in his hand, or draws Karmic Twist, he can move 2 Fate from my Honor Nitai Master onto this no Fate Wanderer next turn. And I want to put Fate on it right now in case Travis does have Karmic Twist at this moment. So I actually just end up putting 2 Fate on it because I know Travis isn't playing Assassination, and he knows I'm not playing Assassination because it's open deckless.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, I'm just gonna play this 2 Fate Wanderer, and so we just shameful.
His deck was running a 1 of Assassination. Would you still have 2 Fated the Wanderer like that?
I think I would have. I think I would have. I think I would have 1 Fated that Wanderer.
Okay.
And then just eaten the twist. Yeah, I don't know how I would have done it. That's like a judgment call, right? Because both are 1x cards, so you just kind of have to take a calculated risk. So I end up with 7 Fate. Travis ends up with 10. And then he's gonna keep both his characters, and I have a face-up Sumiko, so I'm just gonna buy that, and I'm gonna become first player. Like, I mulligan Yokuni. I always mulligan Yokuni in this matchup until super late game, where he doesn't just get permanently bowed by against the waves.
Hmm.
In the old matchups, Yokuni was actually really strong against Phoenix because there's just a lot of really good abilities to copy from both sides.
With the new box, it's sort of untenable.
Yeah,
right.
And so I flipped this Mia Mystic, and I have the Sumiko. If I was second player, I would have bought Mia Mystic, and then gone
So
for
did he
Passive
flip Master Gisi Toshi there? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if
I don't know if I would have kept the 2-drops on his side though. They're somewhat low impact. The 2-drops if you're like carrying over 10 Fate, but I can understand wanting to keep like both of them because they're both sort of like
the judge was
going
just
towards
asking,
your water game.
Yeah, Ryan just asked me like when the Wanderer came in because he thought I played it with 1. I just let him know that I did put 1 on it, but I said that I was still thinking. And so he plays Master Gisi Toshi with 3. I take Passing Fate. I literally I don't touch my dial in this matchup because I'm just gonna bid 5. I set my dial. I preset my dial to 5. I put it face up and I say 5 for all my bids. But if I was second player here, or if I was going second, I would have bought Mia Mystic to take off the cloud on my Anytime Master. But going first with Sumiko is just insane, and I find Jade Masterpiece, so I move a Fate over from the Void Ring to the Earth Ring, which is a mistake. I'm doing this in draw step. I should have waited till pre-conflict to do this, so then Travis can could have used Master of Gisi Toshi to block the ring that has the Fate on it. It's not that good against Dragon.
That makes sense.
It's not that good against Dragon, but it's just like it's again small percentage plays. You should just do, make all your plays with the most information. So, now we get into pre-conflict. Travis uses Master of Gisi Toshi. He does it on Void. I'm not sure why, but again, I don't really care if he does it on Earth because I don't have any events that I really want to play.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Master Gisi Toshi just really isn't super impactful in this matchup.
So I'm just gonna, because I have Pathfinder's Blade, I can just go and flip up these provinces with not a care in the world. And
unless he gets into like let go or something.
Yeah. So I have a Centaur in my hand actually. I had a Centaur in my opening 9, so winning favor was just like huge. Because I was gonna have Sumiko, so he clarities. Travis again during the match said that he should have just claritied from his graveyard. Travis self-admittedly said that he was a little bit tilted after the restoration. His mind wasn't really quite in it. And that's completely understandable. Travis has also said that he has a hard time playing against me. But it was just one of those happy to be there kind of moments. So yeah, I mean we got
he's a good sport.
yeah, we had the first. So I box up the 10 here with the fan, so I'm breaking this Meditations. Travis just favorable grounds out for no reason. I guess it's not no reason. He should have just stayed in though because it would have been 1 less honor loss. Very minor. I'm not gonna dishonor him. So yep, Sumiko doesn't bow. I take the break.
Oh, that's right, because he's claritied, so there really isn't any reason.
Yeah, all it does is it loses him an extra honor that he shouldn't have lost. Because
now he doesn't have a favorable if he wants to go hunting for feast.
No, I would have discarded it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm being dumb.
Yeah. So I would have just discarded it. And then so he's gonna go in. He takes the fate. He just wants the money, so he's going in on air. I think he should have flashback clarity here. He just doesn't. It's air on face-up restoration and balance. I don't think I can say no blocks fast enough. Like I say no blocks and I immediately lose my 2 honor. I don't care. And so I then just send in. I think I send in Sumiko and this master in on a military attack. And I hold my wanderer back just in case.
Is this what Sumiko does to people whenever you don't Miyamoto's Fury her?
Yeah,
That
I mean
sucks.
you just can't. Yeah,
The restricted list sucks.
yeah. She was a lot worse when Fury was around. She is just a full-on tank now. Like you just can't stop her from rampaging.
Yeah.
Like for shame is the only option. So I run in a public forum, kind of awkward. I have a censure ready if Travis has display of power, so I don't really care. I think I just win this conflict and I honor Sumiko. He just asks me what my strength is, and I just like tell him 1,000,000 or something. Oh, it's 9, yeah. I think at this point I have like 2 Bonzos in my hand too. Like there's just no defense is untenable. Oh yeah. So Travis has a cloud. He plays this. He says I should have done this in the first conflict. I have a let go, so again, it's not it is a mistake, but it wouldn't have mattered. And then Travis again plays against the waves from his hand. He should use his box to play against the waves if he wants to. And so we have a funny conversation after this. So everything happens, and then I tell Travis, like, so he stands, and then Travis is deciding where to attack, and I tell Travis, if you hit Feast or Famine, you lose. Because I have a skirmisher in my hand. And I literally just tell him this, and it gets him to, it just, like, he just doesn't attack then. Like, so, I mean, you could see it as kind of like mind games or whatever, but I mean, I just, like, literally told him the truth.
Well, so the problem is he doesn't have any fate, right?
Yeah.
So he can't bow his guy with his own against the waves.
Well, I have a censure. I have a censure.
And your hand not really being important, it's the lack of options. Like if I were in his place, I wouldn't have attacked either.
Yeah. So he just used against the waves for no gain basically. He said that also. He's just like, I just wasted against the waves. So Travis becomes first player. I keep favor. I'm only gonna ride Sugu. I'm just gonna play this Mia Mystic and blow up this cloud on my Anytime Master because I know it's the last one. And I have swords in my hand.
If Travis is going to go through the steps of actually playing the Against the Waves, I just wish that the tilt would have carried him through to attacking. Like what if he doesn't hit it? What if he hits, the Manicured Garden?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He gets to feel so happy about it, That would have been awesome.
Like if you're gonna tilt, just full tilt.
Yeah, dude, just go for it. That's how I do it.
So I flip a really weak flop here, but my board is so strong that I'm gonna buy this, and then I actually just pass. So I end up with 8 fate out of conflict, and I just have this enormous board. So again, 5. I draw like a bunch of swords, a reprieve, a Finger of Jade. Once we move past draw step, I just use first action, use Beam Mystic in pre-conflict because it can get clouded. So I'm just gonna blow up this Cloud the Mind.
Isn't that all clouds?
Yeah. Played? So I let go 2, and I Beam Mystic to the 3rd one.
Sure.
And so he's gonna give covert. So I know he wants to covert the Master, so I play Finger of Jade to attempt to block the covert. He's gonna let go my Finger of Jade. I'm thinking about censuring it, but like I don't think about it too often. Like when I have a counterspell, like I make my decisions really quickly, so I don't like it's not a tell. Like that's definitely something you have to keep in mind. Like something that carries over from Magic too. So yeah, Travis attacks. He hits Manicure Garden, so he big brains the Manicure Garden, which is fine. So I actually think I just block with Sumiko because I don't want him to get his keeper.
So you counterspell really, or you pass really fast when it's in your hand. When they're not in your hand, do you make your opponent wait for your reaction?
I make
trigger?
my opponent pay like I'll like tell them stuff like you know, I need you to pay for that spell, or like I'll kind of say like I might have it.
Hold on, I need to think.
Yeah. I'll make some small decisions here or there and just be like, you know, give me a sec, or you know, I need you to pay your fate. So he's gonna court game status on our Sumiko. That is his third court games. I'm still winning, so I think I just pass. I think I gamed my fate already. Yeah, I'm at 8.
Scorpion in person. I pretty much say I'll allow it after every single thing that they play.
Yeah.
Like just like I'm playing like mono blue, you know, like just that's what's going on. It's 1996 and I'm playing counterspell deck.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just gonna attack on Void. Travis again in full tilt mode forgets to honor his Suki. So I send both in military at this face-up public forum. Phoenix Row just fucking sucks.
It is not. It is unimpressive.
It is.
You have a shameful display, right? Like,
yeah.
And you're like super all in on making sure that nothing bad happens to it.
Yep. It is not good. And so Travis doesn't block because he just can't stand against that force. He just knows that. So he takes the break. I void the Adept of the Waves, and then I'm gonna stand this Anytime Master with a Katana, I believe.
I think the only thing that saves the Crane row is just the money generation.
Yeah, agreed. Crane has more defensive options in cards also between Crane Box, For Shame, Steward of the Law, and Paul Rival. So he's just gonna attack to basically make me block, and so I oblige him. I think he does. I think he does Earth. If he was to do Air, I wouldn't have blocked. So he just does Earth at Manicure Garden. I block 7. You know, my guy's at 7. He just passes. So action to him, he passes. I play a sword. Stand this Anytime Master. You know, everyone's kind of done this before, or been on the receiving end of this this action. So I do a political fire at basically I just tell him, I'm like, if I hit Shameful Display, you know, it's not that bad for me, but you know, that's the worst thing to hit. But then Travis is like, nope, you can just big brain the Manicure Garden anyway. So Travis chooses not to block. Actually, he's gonna stand for favor to try and that's like his out, and so he's gonna gain a fate with this Manicure Garden, and then he's gonna go for a display of power. Yeah, and so I just I just censure this display of power and just basically break the back. And I honor my Sumiko again. So I win 4 rings that turn. I become first player on his stronghold with, you know, my Wanderer is going to leave play. Oh, what was really cool was, so in that Wanderer play, I put 2 Fate on it to play on Karmic Twist. Travis told me he had the Karmic Twist. It felt really, I told him that feels really good to make that level of a play and then get rewarded. So I have 8 Fate, and I'm going to go to 15. Which is a large amount of Fate.
Definitely, you know, I understand purchasing Master Gishi Toshi with 4 Fate because it tends to be really impactful in a lot of matchups. And Dragon, and if you kind of watch in this game, it just didn't quite do enough to warrant that investment. And I feel like he would have been better served to try and pitch some of his earlier smaller guys and just tried to get to the Prodigy of Waves as fast as possible.
Yeah, agreed.
Because that is something that's beefy, can help you in multiple challenges, and if it gets honored, then you know you've got a real problem on your hand, especially if you can straighten it and use it over and over again. So just seeing the way that certain fate was used here, and like Tadaka comes out, usually he slams down like a ton of bricks, but against Dragon it just doesn't matter as much because you just have so much static force coming from non-event type stuff. He doesn't help against wall of force kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I flip a really weak flop for 15 fate, so I just buy 2 swordsmith with 2 fate in case somehow I don't win this turn. And then again we're both gonna bid 5. I think I have like 3 Cloud the Mines in my hand at this point, so I'm just gonna Cloud Tadaka and Cloud Master before I make my attack.
Mm.
So both draw 5. I draw some coverts also. So I think I'm going to like activate both my swordsmiths. I get like a Pathfinder's Blade and like I think I get a fan. I split out my graveyard so it's easier for him to see what events are turned off. Then I activate both my swordsmiths. I think I have like 20 cards in my hand at this point in the game. That's a really big stack of cards. And so I make one mistake on this turn. I have this Pathfinder's Blade, and I know his province, his stronghold province is Rally. I should have played my Pathfinder's Blade on my Sumiko. I had enough swords to stand my Nita Master regardless, and so in case he swapped it or something, I don't think it would have mattered, but it's just like a slight mistake. It's just like I basically saw red and like I knew I was gonna win. Like it was just like one of those moments like I know I'm going to win. So in draw step I'm clouding all this stuff. The judge is going to point out this Pathfinder's Blade sitting face up in front of me. Because I just forgot about it.
Please put that in your hand.
He's just like, what is this? I'm like, oh, I revealed it off Swordsmith. And so I just attack everything in the military. So I move a fate. So I'm like literally doing all my things for like my small edges. Move a fate onto the Void Ring. And then I play Wanderer on Sumiko. He's going to Wanderer his Tadaka, and then I'm just going to play Skirmisher, and I'm going to covert his other 2 guys, so it's only Tadaka blocking. And then like we do a force count or whatever. Like he doesn't swap because he just like doesn't have any political buffs in his hand, and I would have broken on political. And like instead of dragging the game out, I actually just start playing my military buffs face up. And I just like I show him Bonsai, two swords, Pathfinder's Blade, and my box. I'm like, I counted it up. I'm like, I have 11 more over here. On top of like, I'm attacking him for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus 5 is 14, 15, 16, 17. I'm attacking him 17, and I have 11 more. Yeah, you just see me start playing everything face up. I'm just like letting him know what it is. So.
May consider stuff like this bad manners, but I actually consider it like I actually, because it's just like you're not dragging it out, you're not giving your like false hope. It's just like
I'm not trying to slow roll. I'm not trying to slow roll my opponent. Basically, like it's just like you're dead, and that's just what it is. Like it has nothing to do with like disrespecting my opponent. I would. Anyone I have like a decent amount of rapport with, I would have done that too. I think getting slow rolled is actually worse than someone just telling you you're dead.
Sure, I would agree.
So those are my two matches I played in the cut at Origins. I'm very confident or very happy with how I played both matchups, and I felt very confident in how I did it.
Play a top 8, correct? You had a bye in the top 8.
Yeah. So story time, round 7 shows up, and I look at the standings and. I'm playing against a crab player, and Joe and him are both X1 at this point. Sorry, Joe's X2, and the other crab player is X1. So Joe lost to me earlier in the tournament, and then Joe lost like I think the crab mirror or something. And so my opponent asked me if I would concede to him, which is perfectly reasonable. I've definitely asked that question before. I really don't have that much to gain from going 7-0, and my opponent would just then make the cut, and Joe would probably be challenger crab. So I actually tell my opponent that I'm not going to concede to him, nothing against him. I didn't want to concede to him because I didn't want more crabs in the top cut. Because I think the matchup is just incredibly unfun, and it's just super, super high variance, and I just basically wanted to reduce that as much as possible. And so I literally told him, I'm like, if you were playing a different clan, I probably would have conceded to you, because I just don't want him to play more against more crabs. He understood, like, he wasn't upset about it, and I ended up winning that match, and inadvertently, it actually ended up kicking Joe out of the top cut. Because if I had conceded, Joe would have made the top cut as crab challenger, and the crab player would have made it on just natural cut.
Well,
go ahead.
Sometimes I don't know. It's just, I mean, like having having a different tournament structure for lower total population of an event may make sense, down the road. But at the same time, like I don't know. Like it sucks to get top 4 in this before cut standings and not make the cut. But I mean, tournament rules say if you want to guarantee that you make it, go 6-1 at very least. And if you don't do that, then there's no guarantees.
Nightcrawlers, I'm mulligan Doom Shigenja against Phoenix because it's just like kind of low impact. I probably could have kept it there. I was really looking for just bigger characters like Investigator, Yokuni. I was just looking for anything with like a lot of stats that made Travis play cards. I had so much fate. And then so I ended up winning. And what happened was, I knew the crab person I played in the final round. So I told the crab player was like he's like a really nice guy. His name is Max. He's Whacked Mackie on the Discord. He basically he was kind of bummed when I said no because he's just like, I just really want Hanamoto. I missed out barely on it at Worlds, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I basically told him that based on math, he would not, very, very assuredly be the crab challenger because Joe's strength of schedule was only slightly higher than his, but Max had not played me yet, and Joe had. So losing to me would have given him a huge bump in tiebreakers, which it did. And so he made the cut, and I actually after I won and kind of gay kept, I then found out that because I did that, I actually kept one extra person out of the top cut and got myself a bye. I didn't actually even realize that was the reason, and so it actually was just like 100% full equity for me to play there because I lose nothing by losing, and neither does my opponent, and I gain everything by winning. And so I won the final round to 7-0 Swiss, and then I got a first round bye. I got to witness Max just never have a chance against Travis. It was awesome. Turn 1 against Crab, Travis flipped Conjo District Palace. And that was a game influenced by fun variants. And the worst and best part about that flip was Travis mulliganed 2 cards, and the 2 new cards he flipped were Conjo Palace. It was just like, like I sat down and I just saw it and I just like kind of made a sour face. And then so Max basically just had to play the game under Conjo District pretty much the whole time. And then from what I understand,
that's fun.
And then to make matters better, so Travis definitely played well in the top cut, but he ran super super hot to get to the finals. His Shrine Maidens against Max, he played 3 Shrine Maidens, and they drew 3, 3, and 2 cards. So he drew 8 cards on 3 Shrine Maidens there, and then against the Scorpion player, he played 2 Shrine Maidens and drew 3 and 2 cards. And
well,
yep.
I mean, to get to the finals, sometimes you need luck.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, against Scorpion, he got slightly low on honor, but then his opponent was playing No Cloud Scorpion, and he played Tadaka for Fate, and the Scorpion player could no longer play cards other than I Can Swim, and Travis just never gave him an opportunity to swim Tadaka. And that was the game.
Well, congratulations on your Kotei win, and thanks for doing it with Dragon.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully we'll have some fun in Houston. Pack 1 will be legal, so it should be a good time. Thanks for doing this with me, Fro. As much as I like talking by myself, it's always fun to get someone else to kind of bounce questions off of.
For sure. I talk to myself a lot on my content. So
yeah. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you want to hear both, more of us talk, you can look up I'll let Fro plug his YouTube channel for the No Funny Stuff videos. They're really, really informative. And then we're both members of the Jade Throne podcast, so give a quick shout out to Shay. And thanks again to Ryan Rocket, the head judge of the event, for setting up this impromptu recording session and allowing us to kind of get like a look back and at the play, basically.
I think this Jade Throne episode that's coming up this week, we'll have both of us on it talking about both Dragon victories, including the one in Europe. So
Yeah.
if you want to hear more about that and those kinds of strategies, then tune into that Jade Thrones episode. I will do probably 95% less shitting on Europe this episode, I promise.
95%, only 95%. So like 95% of 1,000 is still not that is still a high amount. And then we'll be doing spoilers and stuff. And then if you do like that content, just check in for any content on the when the new packs come. We'll be doing pack reviews and talking over the cards and just kind of giving people an idea of what are the important cards out of each pack for each clan. Nightcrawler says, why do you go by Fro and not Sir Largeness? I think Fro is your original handle.
So Fro's how I go by online. Everyone calls me Potter for Fro, and then Sir Largest is just like Sir Largest was my goofy Halo 1 name.
Oh, nice. Nice.
And then I just like carried it over to like all my online platform stuff. But most of the time, whenever like I'm at a con or anything like that, I hear like Fro being belted out by like 5 rows down. So that's sort of what people go by as my Facebook name.
Yeah, at PAX South, everyone's calling you Fro, and I was looking for somebody with a Fro. I didn't realize they were talking to you, and
Right.
And then when I found out why it's Fro, it made a lot more sense because of your last name.
It's my last name spelled backwards because I don't like for employers to be able to look up my Facebook name.
It's a really good practice, especially if you work in like a pretty professional industry. It allows you to still be yourself without having to sacrifice any corporate things. Pro tip for any young people going into the corporate world.
Please, God, please follow this.
Yeah,
we look you up. It happens.
Yeah, they'll look you up, and then they'll see, that one time that you're posing with a beer bong and, a bunch of girls on your arms, and they might not hire you because of that.
Okay.
Or they might hire you because of that, depending on what job you're going for.
All right. Well, thanks, friends.
Thank you, and we'll catch you guys later.